Better alone than in bad company. What sounds like a sad country song from the last century is nothing more than the realization that comes to many people sooner or later in their lives. Important. Being alone and being lonely are two completely different states of mind. Loneliness means emotional isolation and the feeling of total seclusion from other people. A feeling that can come over us even in the midst of family and friends, but also in a partnership and relationship. Those who, on the other hand, get along well with themselves alone will never be lonely even at the end of the world, as a lighthouse keeper in Newfoundland or the only man on the moon. Anyone who feels at home and in good hands as a me, myself, and I, in what is the best team in the world, can successfully master all situations in life. It may be true that no one is an island, but some people have discovered a bit of island feeling with all its advantages as a lifestyle for themselves. They are men and women alike. They can be found in all age groups and in all social classes. Nevertheless, these solo artists of life share a few things in common. We present these in today's video. If you like our videos, feel free to support us with a thumbs up, subscribe to Psychology in Mind, activate the bell, and get ready for videos uploaded for you every day. Number 1. Emotional independence. People who don't necessarily need external and third-party validation for their happiness in life will rarely have a hard time in life. They know the state of affairs in their lives, know their worth, and are well aware of their strengths and weaknesses. Those who don't need outside judgment, don't fish for compliments, and need feedback at most when requested, but not as an elixir of life, can sit back, relax, and enjoy life in their very own four walls. Number 2. Introverted personality. Loners often have the reputation of eking out an existence as lone wolves and solitary people. Interestingly, the reason for this is to be found in our biochemistry. According to studies, introverted personalities react more strongly to dopamine when it is released by the body during the cultivation of social contacts. Because of this sensitivity, they are virtually forced to divide their interpersonal interactions into tolerable doses. Too much contact with other people can trigger a feeling of being overwhelmed and, depending on how pronounced the sensitivity is, send the body into a kind of dopamine rush that is anything but pleasant. Number 3. A listening ear. Still waters are good listeners and approach their fellow human beings with an open mind and without prejudice. They are happy to listen to other people's opinions without feeling the need to bring their own personal details into the conversation. It is precisely this circumstance that often makes these contemporaries so likable. To fellow human beings who are in need of communication and always ready to talk, they seem like a white canvas that can be filled to their heart's content with their own stories of life, suffering, and love. It's no wonder, then, that loners quickly need a break from others. Number 4. Increased need for rest and regeneration. The loners among us are not infrequently the ones who are the first to leave a party, and they have to manage their energy and resources more than others. Far more often, they celebrate an extended evening ritual, including an extensive night's rest. What leads to a real energy boost for sociable people, namely the exchange with others, drains the batteries of loners in record time. A weekend full of social appointments without rest would be almost impossible for them to manage. The very idea would drain all resources. Number 5. Loyalty. People who like to be alone with themselves and the world often have a very manageable circle of friends. This does not automatically make them unpopular or unloved contemporaries. On the contrary, They give a lot of thought to their environment and scrutinize ties very carefully before joining them. They live and love according to the principle, be friendly to all, but choose only the best to associate with. If you can be sure of such a person in your environment, you will forever have a loyal friend at your side and support in all situations. In return, one is asked at most to accept the need for rest and regular time off from interpersonal activities. Number 6, pronounced self-awareness. Loners have the best relationship of their lives with themselves. They spend a great deal of time closely examining every feeling, thought, and situation and subjecting them to detailed scrutiny. Those who question themselves often will get to know themselves better and better. As a result, these people are able to recognize who or what is good for them more quickly than others. Their heightened awareness helps them in everyday life, at work, and in communication with others. At the same time, this ongoing self-evaluation also means that the absence of other people is hardly ever perceived as a deficiency. Number 7, forgive and forget. Those who are comfortable with themselves to the extent that other people become almost entirely superfluous can easily appear generous to others. Those who can choose their social contacts according to strict criteria will hardly ever experience real disappointments or a massive breach of trust. It never reaches that point. Should dark clouds appear on the horizon for the so-called lonesome wolf, then they have sufficient tolerance and emotional distance ready at hand, which they fall back on if necessary. Those who expose themselves to human flaws only in small quantities can easily overlook weaknesses. Moreover, to be resentful would allow other people far more space in their mental spheres than these soloists would ever give. Number 8, time is money. Solo dancers on the floor of life like to be punctual. They live in a structured way and according to a plan that does not provide for unnecessary waiting and senseless idle time. Next to our health, time is our most valuable asset. Loners therefore appreciate a conscious organization of their days. Frittering away time or dedicating it to people and/or activities they cannot stand behind 100% is anathema to them. These contemporaries therefore also know no boredom. Those who get along well with themselves always live in the best company. Our conclusion. Just as people who like to be alone should not automatically be labeled lonely, it would also be unfair and simply wrong to call them egotists. The desire for little human closeness can usually be observed early on in childhood. Some people grow up in the awareness that it is perfectly okay and fine not to need a lot of social contact. Bending or trying to live up to someone else's expectations can only lead to failure. People who want to re-educate loners into sociable herd animals will sooner or later distance themselves from them. The freedom of personal life organization means being respected just like every other individual. Even if the view from the outside, as so often, offers a completely false and distorted picture of the situation, people who are happy and content alone have everything they need. They aren't lonely, nor do they need to be rescued or comforted or led back onto the path of general social acceptance. On the contrary, being enough for oneself is not a curse, but an extremely precious gift. That's it for today. We hope you enjoyed our post today. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching. Did you find this information helpful? Do you have experience with it? We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts. For more resources about mental health, self-improvement, and psychology, visit our website. You'll find the link in the video description where you can also connect with us on social media and sign up for our email list. Take care of yourself and have a beautiful day.